Here is a sneak peek of today's episode's patron-exclusive content.
And she has a shrine. She has a shrine of Harry in her room.
Exactly.
I guess. Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious.
Like, it's legitimately the only thing I could stop. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like,
all the Drary shippers are going crazy right now.
Have I just become a Drary shipper throughout this bonus?
I think you might have. I think that you might have, and I don't know what to think about it.
I don't know what to do with myself. I feel like my life is falling apart. I mean, speaking as a person who was a teenage girl at some point, and I had a mother who was...
Oh my god, weird, same.
Oh my god, we have so much in common. You're light, I'm dark. We were both teenage girls once.
Who had mothers?
You're like 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. I'm like 7%, you know?
I don't know if that makes us super similar, but okay.
Just let's exploit our similarities, please.
I took like 7 years of Spanish in high school and college. You speak Spanish fluently. It's cool.
See, like, are we the same person?
I think we are. But we're not the same as Draco or Darcy, that's for sure.
Oh, just thinking about a Lady Lucius as like Lady...
Kris Jenner, yeah.
Like as a Kris Jenner, as like in real life.
To hear the rest of that patron-exclusive content, become a patron for as little as $2 a month by going to patreon.com/Occhiopolitics. Hello and welcome to Occhiopolitics, a reread podcast making us ponder the politics of the wizarding world. I'm Adri, one of your hosts, a recovering English major, and a person who misses the amazing thing that was victory scrolling last Saturday. Like, instead of doom scrolling, just like that deep, wonderful feeling of victory scrolling on Twitter. Oh, what a treat.
Yes. I'm Helene, your co-host, producer, and someone who is finally able to breathe again.
I'm Kay Alex, coming back like I never left. Your returning district championship volleyball coaching, egg roll loving, parent teacher conference loathing co-host.
Man, you got me craving egg rolls now. Thanks.
You're welcome. Can we get delivery?
Please. Sounds so good.
Some lo mein.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'll trade you egg rolls for piratas.
Oh, okay. So when Kay Alex was here, Helene, I know I don't want you to feel left out, but like we introduced Kay Alex to the wonder, the amazingness that is a taco pirata, which is available at Taco Palenque, which is like a chain of like Mexican restaurants here in San Antonio. It is hands down the best tacos I've ever had.
I shouldn't have even said it because now my mouth is watering like I didn't just eat.
Well, okay, Alex, I'm sorry to tell you that we have tacos pirata today, actually.
Oh!
So yeah, if you're ever in the San Antonio area, Taco Piratas at Taco Palenque is where it's at.
Sounds good.
You're gonna have to come over, Helene.
Well, that we've already established that. So
Pfizer is like almost there with the vaccine. So soon
we can do this, guys.
Anyway, tacos and vaccines aside, we will be talking about Chapter 14 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix today, and it is titled Percy and Padfoot, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Okay, so I'm not bad.
Nope, that's the name of the chapter, and this is the one where Percy writes an abhorrent letter to Ron, attempting to convince him to stop being Harry's friend and side with Umbridge and the Ministry. Oh, and some other stuff happens, but that's mainly the main stuff.
Mm-mm-mm. And that's really sad because speaking of Percy, a couple days ago, the actor who plays Percy, Chris Rankin, who is almost quite the opposite of Percy the character, really kind and charismatic and socially aware of himself to boot, had a birthday.
He
And
did.
I am hoping, really, really hoping that our country can get it shit together because he and I have a standing date to both have snitch witches together for the first time.
I mean, Helene and I might crash that as well.
No, 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 no. You absolutely cannot crash my snitch
Can
witch.
you get Chris Rankin on this podcast one day? Because I love Chris. I've spoken with Chris a couple times. I interviewed him once for Mugglenet. He's such a sweet guy. We should get him on the podcast because he is he loves Harry Potter, and I would love to hear his perspective on Percy because we talked about this a little bit in the interview I did with him. But he has some really interesting takes on Percy that I think our viewers would love to hear.
See how she flexed on me? She's already had this extensive interview with him and stuff. I just want my snitch witch date. Okay.
Oh man, no, we should get him on here.
Wear a mask so I can go to LeakyCon and have people about how Teddy Graham should be added to snitch witches.
Well, Percy and Chris Rankin aside, we'll get into Percy a lot, I feel like, in this chapter discussion. But isn't it time that we thank some special people, Adri?
Oh my god. Yes, it is. Thank you so much to all our patrons because they're the ones keeping this little taped up boat that could podcast afloat. And as a thank you to patrons, today's episode has content that is exclusive only to patrons. We will be adding a new character to the discussion of our Girl Who Lived segment, Draco. What would the series look like had Draco been gender flipped and been a girl? Or if the entire cast of characters had been gender flipped, how would that look like with a girl Draco in the mix? So, patrons, stay tuned to the end of this episode and you'll find out what that conversation sounds like. I don't know yet because we hadn't had it yet. Probably great though.
Yeah, there's a little bit of insight into our recording process. We record the patron-only content at the end.
It's just easier for our wonderful editor, Allison Pullman. Shout out to Allison. She's great. She's our newest editor. This is why the latest couple of episodes have been so fantastic. It's because I'm no longer the editor. It's Allison.
It's your weekly self-deprecation segment. No episode is complete without Adri crapping all over her talents.
But wait, there's more where that came from.
Oh, okay. Well, before we get into today's chapter, it's time for our Potter Watch segment where we discuss some of the latest news in the United States, and this is actually a good thing this time. Yay!
Well, you know, not to be like the in this, but it's not all great this week, okay?
Okay, but
Yeah.
we got one really good, nice piece of news, and I just want to can we focus on that? Can we be optimists for like 30 seconds, please?
I'm setting a timer for 30 seconds.
No, don't worry. I have a 30-second timer.
That's true. That's true.
Potter Watch. What the ministry does. I'm sorry, I can't.
Here, do it all serious, like Potter Watch. What the ministry doesn't want you to know.
Y'all are really wilding tonight.
It's because President-elect Biden and VP-elect Harris.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
President-elect Biden and VP-elect Harris.
I was about to say, you better give the first black VP the horn.
Oh, come on. Like, do you think that me, someone who too liberally uses the air horn, wouldn't use at least one for that? Come on, girl.
Yeah, you did too liberally is right. Okay, before I let her get any more air horns in, let's discuss this. Joe Biden won, guys, and contrary to
like,
what the orange
Philly was the like deciding factor, because like Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia were like looking at their fingernails going like, oh, you know what, my nail polish isn't dry yet, sorry, can't do it.
I just like to just sit back and put my feet up until like January, February 2021. In fact, wake me up for St. Patrick's Day. That's probably going to be the next grand celebration in America, because Black women did that.
Yeah, you did.
Like, all across the country, Black women handled fucking business.
Yeah, Black women organized, Black women showed up to vote, and Black women carried this for Biden. Like,
100%. Yeah.
Am I impressed? Absolutely. Am I surprised? Not really.
Nah, nope. Not surprised.
Also, am I disappointed in Cuban Americans? Yes. Am I surprised? No.
No, not really.
Am I disappointed and like not happy to be a white woman? 100%. Yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's the end of the tweet. I'm ending there.
That's it. That's the tweet.
Yep.
Yeah, and unless your name is, nah, we don't even really talk about men on the show. Such as
I don't know, like who, like
Who?
who? Don't know her. Insert Mariah Carey gif. Well,
Was that our 30 seconds?
No, I'll just put the timer on for you. Just like
no, that was enough. I'm happy I got it out. I'm excited. I mean, I know that we have a lot still to do. I know that the orange, what you like to call the orange Mussolini, is still.
But tell me that is not accurate.
I will tell you after you let me finish my point, which is the orange Mussolini is still currently president and will be until January 20th. I know this. I know that there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of mending and healing that the country has to do, and a lot of reckoning that we have to kind of look at ourselves with, because 71 million people voted for this guy. Again, I just can't even fathom that, but I'm trying to focus on the positive, because
70 million people enjoy being racist and bigoted in public.
Yep.
Is that surprising to you?
I mean, it's disheartening. I don't know if I would say it's surprising, but it's disheartening.
Listeners, if you live, work, eat, sleep, work the pole, or work the polls, and do the motherfucking thing.
In Georgia?
Yes, follow Stacey Abrams until kingdom come.
Yeah, we need to flip the Senate. Georgia, that is all in your hands. Please help us flip the Senate, because Joe Biden isn't going to get half the shit done that he wants to during this administration if he has a Republican.
Flip the Senate.
I mean, yeah, Mitch McConnell's not going to let anything happen, so we need to flip the Senate.
Flip it like a motherfucking pancake.
A vote for Jeff Ossoff is a vote against Mitch McConnell. Just think about it that way, okay?
Also, may I say, as like a red-blooded woman, John Ossoff is not something like that is hard to look at. Just saying.
No, he's pretty nice.
You trying to say he fine?
Oh, he's like completely fine.
Okay.
He deserves like 5 air horns. But I'm not going to do it.
Don't do it.
Because I have self-restraint.
Oh, you
Contrary to popular belief.
So is he legitimately handsome, or is he handsome because you've been stuck inside? Because a lot of folks' judgment about who fine and who not. I mean, Map Daddy was fine. I was like, okay, people. I wasn't sure about the map guy. I wasn't sure.
Are you talking about John King?
No.
No. So,
Steve
Kornacki, who
Oh.
is completely gay, and that changes nothing for me. But
Okay, when you said map guy, I totally thought you meant John King from CNN.
no, Steve Kornacki is like a gem of a human being, and he's like a nerdy like math guy, but still like super cute, and like he like cares, you know. So you're like, yes, yes. So we projected all like our election anxiety into crushes for Steve Kornacki. Anyway, John Ossoff is like legitimately handsome. Like, and I have been told by someone who saw him in person that he's actually even more unsettlingly handsome in person.
Okay.
I mean, despite the fact that he's white.
We are
but,
all failing the Bechdel test right now.
Oh, it's fine. I'm fine.
I'm an English teacher. I fail math tests all the time.
It's more like a feminist test, but okay. Anyway, to end this lovely discussion of all the great things that happened on since Saturday, I want to share my favorite part of like this beautiful like time in our lives when we weren't worried about the next item on our list. Okay.
We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
And that, of course, that is Kamala Harris calling Joe Biden to let him know that he is the president-elect. And she posted that video on Twitter. And it was like the time that I cried.
Yeah, it was great.
And
I cried during her speech.
Oh, yes. Yes, girl.
As somebody who went to a HBCU that is not Howard University, man, I know Howard alums have to be like outstandingly, insufferably proud right now. If they weren't proud before, which they are all the time, but now they get to be like on 1,000, which, yeah.
We can let them have that. Yeah.
Totally get it. I'm definitely gonna let them have it.
The next item on our Potter Watch segment is the sideshow, the grift, and the golpe de Estado, or as the French call it, a coup, that is currently happening as 45, or, you know, the Orange Mussolini, the Cheetah Mussolini, however you want to call him, is doing right now, as he is firing all civilian heads of major agencies, and is throwing a fit and gambling that something will go his way. He is destroying our institutions on his way out, surprising no one who has ever gone through a breakup with a narcissist.
In the great words of the recently deceased legend that is Alex Trebek, losers.
I'm sorry, that was a great tribute. I loved it.
You mean losers?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. Is anyone surprised? No,
I'm not surprised. I'm just like more like appalled that I'm not surprised.
You can't even be disappointed. Like you can't.
Oh no! Like you have to have standards in order to be disappointed. He set the bar so low that that's what we expected. I'm disappointed in myself for not being surprised.
Yeah, someone I was talking to earlier was saying, well, wouldn't it be nice if he just, went to Mar-a-Lago for Christmas and just never came back so that he didn't have to go through that shot of him having to pack up and leave the White House, and it's like saving his dignity? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh yeah, Mar-a-Lago.
Well, he's hiding in the White House currently, like trying to play his version of like, oh, I'm playing 3-dimensional chess, which is more like he's playing like checkers and overturning like
he's just listening to We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together on repeat by Taylor Swift. He's just sitting in his room in the fetal position.
He's probably listening to like Kid Rock or something like that. He doesn't have any musical taste. Come on.
He's just like holding a globe and sobbing in the fetal position, singing We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together.
And then having a whole bunch of people just tweet from his account and be on the news in the dark, him totally And like then Ivanka had the nerve to tweet today, "Oh, we won Alaska, bitch! This race is."
Oh, congratulations, Ivanka. The race is over.
That's like saying, like, I mean, of course you want Alaska. Alaska's been red every single. Come on, like what? It doesn't matter. We won
It's
Philly.
like
We won
it's like my
Pennsylvania.
students telling me they did their homework after the report cards in the mail. The F is on the paper.
It's too late.
Like that is just the definition of participation trophy. Like, cool. You still lost. What do you
Oh my
want?
God.
Like a medal? Like runner up?
I just can't.
I don't want
It's
to give him nothing but jail time.
Oh, same.
I don't even want to
Same.
give
But
him a
like, can
bunch
we
of
just like
I'm so excited for him to go to jail after all.
I saw a tweet that was like hilarious where someone quote tweeted like an article that said that Trump could get $100 million deal for penning a book about his time in the White House, and like they quote tweeted that article and said, "This is like Elliot like pouring Reese's Pieces outside the closet to get ET to come out." Like, like just like, hey Trump,
He
you go peacefully. There's $100 million.
What's stupid though is that there are people who are absolutely, this is how we got into this mess into the first place, which is people being absolutely fascinated in his shit show.
Well, yeah, because this is a cult of celebrity. It has nothing to do with ability.
Well, not only that though, but like it's kind of like the child that puts their hand on the stove just to see how hot it'll get. Then when you're coming up with welts and blisters, you're like wondering, okay, like what do I do now to
I
solve
mean,
the problem?
to
Well,
be
he wouldn't
fair,
do that himself. He would make someone else do it, like Ivanka or like Don Jr. or Eric or Tiffany, and then he'd be like, "Oh, look."
I think most Americans are done with this shit and don't actually care anymore and want to not have to hear from him ever again. I don't think
No.
most people are really that invested in seeing what happens to him next.
Well, I think now too though is like we, like most children though, America is easily embarrassed. And now racists and bigots now, there are a few that are just absolutely foolish and have no shame whatsoever. But the majority of America is in hiding, and now they're trying to assimilate back into society. And that's America's biggest issue is that, well, actually, we are a country that's built on racism and bias and colonization and appropriation and all these other systemic oppressive things. And Trump was only a side effect of that. He wasn't the cause.
Oh,
Like,
for sure, he's a product of it. He's not.
yeah, it's like,
And now the Republican Party is fucked for life.
I don't think so.
no, I don't think so either. They're just out of season for right now.
I mean, as
Yeah.
long as Trump is viewed as the leader of the Republican Party, they are irredeemable. And hopefully they get over this. But I'm kind of scared they might not, or at least for a while.
The Republican Party is very much alive and well in places where they have won the legislature.
Yeah.
State legislature. Like maybe like the federal version of the Republican Party is, has taken a few hits, but in
Yeah.
the states it has not.
Yeah, and like
Can't you attribute all of that to Trump though?
no.
No. Sorry.
Pretty
No.
sure that he is the leader of the Republican Party, both at the state, local level, and at the federal level.
Well, I think a lot of states view their like highest elected state officials as the like leader of their own Republican Party. I think that's how.
But usually, those elected officials follow Trump and worship Trump a lot of the time.
Yes, but then this is why 70 million people voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think if it wasn't Trump, it would have been somebody else, and a whole bunch of people would have been like,
I'm just concerned, like, honestly, I'm just concerned that our next, like, fascistic, like, populist candidate from, like, likely the Republican Party or the, like whatever, the Tea Party bullshit QAnon people is going to be actually competent, and we're fucked.
Yeah. And there's too many people talking about reaching across the aisle and singing Kumbaya and being nice to your enemies for me. It's the absolute delusion for me. It's
Well, these are the same people who think like that minorities and people of color and, women and oppressed people should just like make nice with the people who, are looking
Oppressing
forward
them?
to our determination.
it would be kind of like it would be like Percy telling Ron to come intern at the minister's office. That's exactly what it's like. It's
But when you think about it that way, wouldn't it actually be good for Harry and, the Order and Dumbledore's army if he did do that? If he did try to cooperate with them?
no, absolutely not. No. No. No, 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 no.
I mean, obviously he would be there trying to do good from the inside.
But you can't reform a corrupt system. You can't do good within a corrupt system. You have to dismantle the corrupt system.
I agree, but I just don't think it would be the worst thing.
Like, this is how we get bad cops. Like, we get like people.
Is this why your politic is brainwashing, Helene?
No. No, it's not why. I'll get to that.
Okay.
Anyway, the last thing that we want to cover here is that COVID continues to spike nationwide. Please wear a mask. And just read an article right before we started recording that Joe Biden plans to stop deportations. He plans to reenact the DREAM Act. All the good things that Trump dismantled.
My man believes in science and is getting scientists on his COVID.
I mean, we knew all of this. This is why we elected him. This is not news.
I want people to know that stay home, wear a mask, social distance, and I know I'm just preaching to the choir at this point, but
I mean, kind of. But yeah,
sometimes
it's good.
I like to think that our reach is going to reach somebody who doesn't agree with us. And sometimes I'm just beefed out. Okay, I'm just picking a fight.
On that note, let's fight in our debate club segment. The Hogwarts Debate Club is when each host takes 30 seconds to explain what they think the politic of the chapter is and make their case. And then I will put a poll, if I remember, because I think 2 weeks ago I forgot. I will put a poll up on Twitter for you to vote for who you think had the most convincing politic, or whose politic you think matches best with the chapter and whose argument was the most sound. And we don't usually read the results on the podcast because we like to read them ourselves. So go vote.
Well, maybe we should have an electoral map.
All right. So I think I'm ready. Just a fair warning before I go. I'm going to be trying to read this real fast because I wrote a lot down and I'm not going to be able to fit this all in 30 seconds.
You ready?
Red leather, yellow leather, red. Yes. Yes, I'm ready.
Is this going to be like an auction? It's going to be great. Okay.
I just want to make sure that I can speak. Okay, go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Percy's letter to Ron is extremely disconcerting because it shows signs of cult mentality and an attempt at brainwashing, which I fear Percy may be a victim of himself. Percy was most likely taught to believe that by abandoning his family and beliefs that they hold, and effectively siding with the Ministry on matters relating to Harry and Dumbledore, that he will be accepted and brought more easily into a position of power. He sees Ron being named a prefect and effectively following in his footsteps as a sign that Ron is similar to Percy in other ways, and therefore sees him as an opening to recruit him to their side. Is that? Oh, he uses arguments widely dispersed by the Ministry through the Daily Prophet. Dang it! I had one more point, but I didn't think I had enough time anyway, so I stopped. People are going to be like, I didn't understand what she said because I said it so quickly. It's okay. I'll try and touch on things during the main discussion. Because I said that way too fast. I'm sorry, everybody.
You have nothing to be sorry about. I followed every single word.
Oh, I'm glad.
But I'm also Puerto Rican, so I'm used to speaking very fast.
Uh-huh. Ooh, my tongue is like... All right,
Okay.
AJ, your turn. Are you
It's
ready?
my turn. All right. 3, 2, 1. My politics today is the politic of social perception. Everyone in this chapter is influenced by what people think of them or of others at varying levels. Harry feels that more in this chapter as Percy solidifies the growing unease that Harry has been feeling. Sirius has been a victim of this, and Ron is struggling with this because of his poor performance at Quidditch. And Cho is Harry's guiding light in the perception game.
Will you shut up, man?
You doing that reminded me. I don't even know if I said what my politic was at the beginning of mine. I just kind of
You
jumped
did
right into
not.
it.
You did not, ma'am.
Okay, now I did the politic of brainwashing. If you want to kind of edit that into the right area, sorry about
No,
that.
no, we're not doing that. We're just leaving it in like that so people know that you were trying to cheat
I'm
after the
sorry.
fact.
I forgot to say what the politic was. It's a rookie mistake.
Nah, you are no rookie. Anyway, okay, Alex, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Intimidation and isolation. Just in time for Thanksgiving, our listeners are introduced to the well-intentioned yet absolutely stupid political motives of our disaffiliated family members. Percy intends to use his delusional clout at the ministry to further isolate Harry from one of the only friends and family, the Weasleys themselves, who have had Harry's back. Just as the Slytherin team each tries to isolate various Gryffindor members for their insecurities and lack
Will you shut up, man?
clout.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go into our in-depth discussion of the chapter, ladies. This chapter is to me one of those where like you said, Helene, like the main thing in this chapter is that Percy sends like a god awful letter to Ron and is like trying to persuade him to kind of like distance himself from Harry for political reasons slash social perception reasons. And I just like find that increasingly horrible the more I think about it, because whether Ron would probably admit it or not, Percy, as an older brother to him, even though he might not like him as a person, is still like an influential person in Ron's life. They know all the buttons to push. You know what I mean? So I may not like some of my relatives, but they still get under my skin.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I think this chapter comes at a really timely point of not just politics in the series, but politics here in America as well, where you can now read thousands of stories of people who have had to cut off, take several steps back, or disavow family members
Oh,
for
for reals.
not just disagreeing on who gets to bring the potato salad or who gets to make the macaroni and cheese, but about human rights and humanity and livelihood.
Like speaking of that, like I don't know if any of you are familiar with the subreddit QAnon casualties, and it's all
Mm.
about like QAnon like members of people who believe in the QAnon conspiracy theory, and like all the like people who have had to cut out family members from their lives or like divorce their spouse who like has become like a QAnon like truther.
Yeah.
And it's heart-wrenching to read these stories of like how the family member or loved one like fell into this rabbit hole that transcends more than just like political belief, and now it's just like a religious belief system almost.
Yeah, I know someone quite well whose mother is a QAnon believer, supporter, and I'm not going to say how I know him just cuz I don't know. I don't want to like blast him on this podcast in case he's
No,
listening.
that's
But and I've just seen how much cuz he's very much democratic, liberal. He voted for Elizabeth Warren in the primaries. He voted for Joe Biden. And it's really difficult to see him have to kind of navigate that relationship now that his own mother doesn't think rationally about these things. And he gets so angry about the things that she does and says and the actions that she's taken in her life because of the things that these QAnon people have convinced her of. And it's just so difficult to see that. And I'm grateful that I don't have to deal with anything like that in my own life, but it has torn families apart. It's awful.
Yeah, I'm just like you, Helene, like very thankful that like I, only have to do like very gentle, sometimes firm checks with family members about like not necessarily identity politics, but like that our political debates don't turn into like us never talking again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Percy is just a really great example of Percy's relationship with the rest of his family, his relationship with Ron, what he's doing this chapter is a really great example of what a lot of Americans are going through right now.
Yeah, I mean, Percy is the QAnon conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. And it also kind of sucks because Percy is the one brother or the one son that like Mrs. Weasley can realistically, well, I won't say realistically. I don't have another better word. I don't have a better word for it.
I think
But
that
like
Percy
Well, no,
is like,
what is she trying to say? That Percy's the one son that Mrs. Weasley can what?
she like want that she desires Ron to emulate.
Well, what
That
about Bill and Charlie? They were both head boy, weren't they?
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is that he actually is in physical proximity to like actually give advice. And at this point, he's the one that's involved in the story. Like we don't ever really see Ron. I honestly don't even really see Ron go to his brothers for mostly anything. But I mean, even besides like sending an owl, but like Percy is the one who's actually the closest in affiliation in terms of like Ron would actually be able to see him, as well as the dichotomy between Percy and Fred and George, which of course Percy mentions in the letter as well. So it's kind of like this track of, yes, I am this bottom of the barrel Trumpian White House intern, but at least I'm not dirt poor and ostracized by the rest of society.
Calix, what I thought you were going to say was that at least that Percy is the one brother that comes closest to fulfilling her desire for her kids to have like a stable job, a ministry job.
Her version of success, her definition of
Exactly,
yeah.
her
Yeah,
version of
that's
success.
exactly what I was trying to get at. And
Okay, so and I'm saying this because of our previous conversations about this, because Bill, even though he works for Gringotts, like he has like the long hair and like kind of like alternative kind of lifestyle for Mrs.
And he
Weasley.
well he doesn't do a very like boring safe job for Gringotts either.
Exactly,
So
exactly. Like
yeah,
it's not a paper pusher job. And then
Mhm.
Charlie, obviously, like dragons. Like, need I say more?
Yeah. That's all you need to say
yeah.
about Charlie ever.
Percy shifts, pushes papers, collects a check, and goes home.
And that's what she wants for all her kids in terms of stability.
Do you think it's safe
Yeah,
to say, do you think it's fair to say that she even maybe thinks that Percy is basically doing what Arthur is doing but better?
Hmm.
yes.
But
I
she's
would
still like,
I would also say like
uh huh.
Percy is not respected by his family, but he is seen as respectable by society.
Yes, correct.
But does that matter if you're not respected by your family? Those closest to you?
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah. I mean, I like getting into the kind of nitty-gritty of Percy as a character because he's really, really interesting to me, especially after hearing Chris's takes on Percy, because not a lot of people sit down and really think about like why is Percy the way that he is. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, when Chris played Percy in the films, he obviously had to do that. To play a character, you have to understand the character, and
Yeah.
it gives him a really unique perspective on why Percy might just look like this crap ass villain to most people, who is betrays his family and is just not loyal and awful, basically. But when you sit down and really think about why is he that way, it doesn't excuse his behavior, but it helps us understand him a bit more. And that's kind of why in my politic I talked about, I think he is in some way brainwashed by the ministry. And it kind of reminds me of like a cult mentality, which is not surprising since the Trump camp is a very much a cult mentality, and this is not that different. And that's why when Percy writes this letter to Ron, it's very much him trying, I see it as him trying to recruit him into this cult by using tactics of brainwashing that the ministry undoubtedly used on him.
Oh yeah, but leaning even further into that, cults first have to isolate you from everybody who could tell you otherwise.
Yep.
They have to make you feel as if you are alone in your thinking and that they are the only ones that can support you, and that you are you're doing the right thing by getting away from all the wrong people, and that this small minority group of people are the people that know what's best for you and can make all the best moves for you, and all you have to do is jump.
And that's exactly what Percy is doing in this letter to Ron, or attempting to do.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the what's funny, well, not funny about cults, funny and not funny, is that the people, how I know I could easily get recruited into a cult is that the the best targets of cults are people who are hungering to make the world a better place. And that's how cults hook you in with like, I've got this secret to transforming the world and you can have a part in this. And that's the buy-in.
Is every cult altruistic like that?
Well, the thing is, like, no. I'm not saying that the cults are altruistic. I am saying that that's the selling point they sell you in order to hook you to get you to do their bidding.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that. And I'm going to say that the biggest appeal about cults and that mentality is that your role inside of their group or their organization is what makes you special.
Yeah. You're irreplaceable.
Yeah,
Um
you are so necessary and so essential, and your you-ness is the one thing that is going to push the group over the top.
I
You
see
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I
like,
see I see cults as people who prey on people who are just hungry for validation and acceptance.
yeah.
Validation and acceptance, and Ron actually is, and he could have fallen prey to this. I mean, he wants nothing more than to be the person that's more important than Harry Potter. Like,
Yeah, because notice too that in Ron's chase for accolades, which has been a part of his personality since we seen him in the Mirror of Erised and the Sorcerer's Stone, that Ron doesn't dislike Percy because of what he's achieved. Ron dislikes Percy because of how he treats his family, of how he carries himself personally. It's not like it's not you're a loser because of what you do, it's you're a loser because of who you are. Like Percy has done everything that Bill and Charlie have done. He's just not cool.
yeah, and it's linked to, yeah, how he's perceived, and Ron really cares about how he's perceived. Hence why he gets so embarrassed during practice, and like it ruins his entire day when practice doesn't go well because of him. And I am a little, I mean, I'm kudos to Ron for he like immediately tears up the letter and is like, what a git, you know, and he just tears it up and throws it in the fire immediately. And I mean, that shows like severe loyalty and dedication when he was literally looking at something, someone he knew and he knows and at one point loved and trusted, telling him your life could be so much easier if you just did this, and we would accept you and love you for who you are, and all you have to do is stop being friends with Harry.
Not only that, but like preying on the insecure. Nobody, like y'all said before, nobody knows your insecurities like your family does. And your own brother being like, oh, you could be a much better person if you just dropped these people. The reason why you're not where you want to be is because you hang out with this friend, that you hang out with this one person. For somebody like Ron, Ron is not easily swayed in his personality, but he is, like y'all said before, he cares a lot about how he is seen.
Yeah, social perception, just like
Yeah.
Avery's politic. Yeah.
And the one time that, he has been, this is actually one of the few times in his friendship with Harry that he hasn't been intimidated and he hasn't chosen to isolate Harry through his own insecurity. And I'm kind of very rarely, I'm proud of Ronald Weasley.
Oh my goodness, another like.
Don't you dare blow that horn.
I wasn't going to, but now.
Oh, Lord.
You're gonna regret saying that.
See,
But no, I mean, I low key agree a little bit in this chapter. I mean, it's kind of a low bar to be like, congratulations for not falling prey to tactics of brainwashing and cult mentality, woohoo! But like, I mean, he didn't, so good for him.
right. Give y'all a chocolate frog and you want the whole dang cart. That ain't just greedy. The bar is in the bad place, okay?
I'd like to like kind of like step back a little bit on like the idea of like brainwashing and like social manipulation and perception and all of this. And like this is the chapter where Harry feels it the most. He feels it because someone who was in his close social orbit, other than like Seamus, is it
Yeah.
Seamus?
Yeah, Seamus.
Other than Seamus, is questioning him and trying to turn people against him.
Well, not just that, but I think in Harry's mind, and for years, the Weasleys have been this united 7-person unit. Near or far, no matter where they were on the family clock, it was understood that the Weasleys functioned as a unit. And now Harry is realizing that not everybody in this family loves him.
And in fact, one of those people is trying to turn his best friend, who has struggled with feeling inferior to Harry, to, just like see Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this PTSD of like, well, we just went through this last year, you guys. Like, I can't. And the stakes have never been higher. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need this.
And it's different about breaking bread with somebody in their home. You slept in their house. Your family has rescued. They've adopted Harry in a way that nobody else has. The dynamic of this family and how they each treat Harry and how they regard, because Percy is not really talking to Ron as if Harry is a person. Percy is talking to Harry as if he's just a problem.
Well, Harry is a liability to Percy at this
Yeah,
point.
he is. Yeah. And even though the letter only gives very subtle hints of intimidation from these whispers or rumors in the ministry, it also comes across as if Harry is a liability that could easily be gotten rid of.
Yeah, it's just very real to Harry now that, I mean, I feel like it first became real when Seamus did it. And although he was never particularly close to Percy, he never really had a bond or, was considered him a friend or anything like that. Um, Having a Weasley be against him is like, seeing a pig fly, and
Yeah,
he just can't believe it.
no, and it's also about like, and I think this might also come into where like your politic of brainwashing too. Like, you would kind of expect someone who was as well reasoned and diligent and as resourceful as Percy to kind of see through the BS that is the ministry at this point.
But he's so brainwashed he can't.
Yeah, like when Percy was first working in the ministry, his boss couldn't even get his name right.
Yep. I doubt he gets it right now.
I was gonna say, probably still can't.
Wallenby is what he
Well,
calls
maybe,
him.
well, maybe now because he works for the minister himself. Like he's proven himself to come up the clout ladder of the cult. But like when he was working for Barty Crouch, it was like he was a peon.
I mean, and he might still very well be, because maybe the minister is just like, like it's one of the Weasleys. Like maybe this will keep Arthur in check.
Maybe, but I wonder though, and of course, we never get this because JK, whoever, just doesn't do any intentional storylining with her characters, but you don't ever really see how Percy became influenced by the ministry.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm
Um,
really interested in that.
I wanted to speak a little bit about that. I think that the ministry has built-in credibility for Percy because that's his father's workplace. So a person like Percy is very institutionally minded. And he's thinking like this institution is something to be revered, to be respected, and to be followed no matter what.
Well, there had to have been someone in the ministry though to tell Percy, yes, the ministry is this great institution and this is why your father is failing at it.
I don't think so. I think that he is so socially acute and aware of his family's position in society that he sees that already.
Just if we're going along with the cult metaphor, nobody just stumbles in. You know what I mean? Nobody just takes a wrong left turn and finds themselves at the clubhouse.
Like, how did he get to the point where he literally is describing Umbridge as a very nice, pleasant woman?
Yeah,
Well,
like
what I'm saying is he had a soft entry into the cult. I'm not saying he just accidentally walked into it. He was already predisposed and willing to believe and buy into the institution of the Ministry of Magic and follow its directives. Like otherwise, how do people get recruited into the military?
well, as someone who almost did get recruited into the military.
Because there's already propaganda providing you a soft entry.
Yeah, but they literally also send a recruiter. And as somebody who's had parents work for quote unquote civic or government institutions, like my mom works for a university and my dad is a retired fireman who now works for our city's transportation. If I see that my parents' job is treating them like shit, there has to be a really damn good reason why I'm going to go choose to work there.
But I don't think Percy sees that the ministry is treating his father like shit. I think that Percy
from the get-go already looked down at his father and his choice of like career path, and he vowed to himself that he would have more ambition than that.
Yeah, I could see that, but I would also.
And remember, like, he worked for Barty Crouch for a whole year before he even entered this cult, like this like different level.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he wasn't having tea and crumpets with Barty Crouch. He was literally getting coffee for the man and being called by the wrong name every 5 seconds.
And he still idolized Barty and was like, this is what I gotta do to move up. I'm going to just fucking do it. I think we're also like not touching on the fact that it's his like political ambition and his ambition to move up in the world that makes him so susceptible to this.
Yeah, I can see it. You're not wrong. I just.
Like this is how we end again. This is how we end up with corrupt politicians all the time. Like you don't start out and are like, you know what, I'm gonna be a corrupt politician.
That's true.
It happens along the way, but there's always a soft entry, and institutions and respected institutions at that already have a soft entry point for people because people already respect them and respect the authority of that institution to a degree. If not, no one would be in public service.
That's true. So you do you think, and this might be a good question for our listeners, do you think that Percy started off with good intentions?
Okay, podcast question of the week. I'm going to make that the question of the week.
I think that I can answer it for myself, but like listeners, I want to know what they think. I think that Percy started out like Joe Biden in his political career was like 20% good intentions, 80% ambition.
I think a lot of people starting off, especially in the political world, do tend to be more willing to put aside their personal beliefs and go with the mob mentality to get
Well,
ahead.
especially if there's power to be attained at some point.
But once they get to a point where they feel comfortable in their position, where they know that people know them and trust them, then they start to kind of let their true side show. I'm not saying that Percy is that way. I honestly don't know if Percy had stuck with the ministry after all of this. Actually, I don't even remember if he does stick with the ministry after all of this. But I don't know if he would have gotten to his position of power and then settled and started to be the Weasley that we all expected him to be. But it is very possible that he was just going along with it at the beginning. But I do think at this point where he is right now, I think he fully believes that Fudge and Umbridge are in the right.
Well, and also that these are the like cognitive dissonance lies that we tell ourselves to get on with the day, you know? Like if not, no one could sleep at night. I mean, the level sometimes of a cognitive dissonance like that people display in especially around like the intersection of evangelical Christianity and Trumpism, and then slash like Q conspiracies is just insane.
What?
There is like a place where evangelical Christians and Trumpism and QAnon converge.
Oh yeah.
And those people display some cognitive dissonance that I have never seen and I want it studied, but I don't want to study it because I am not qualified to do it. And also I would go insane.
The world would be a cool place if evil people really couldn't sleep at night.
Anyhow, I think it's time for Dementors and Chocolate. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah.
Dementors and Chocolate. Ladies, what is your Dementor in this chapter? Okay, Alex, you are first.
Man, this Slytherin Quidditch team gives me the freaking blues. I can't stand a bully. As much as I love athletic competition, I can't stand bullying, especially bullying that has nothing to do with like the competitiveness of the game, and it's just all personal attacks. Slytherin was just not my favorite house in this chapter, and I was sick of them by the end of it.
Well, I think that that is not a like thing that people are going to be like, "Oh no, how dare you? How dare you be like
I mean, I
you don't
know
like bullies?"
I know some good Slytherins. I know some cool Slytherins. Like,
Hashtag not all Slytherins.
but in this chapter, y'all ain't had no good representation, and hate to see it.
Mine kind of ties into that. Just one specific comment that one specific Slytherin made during this chapter. Pansy's shit racist comment about Angelina's braids and equating them to worms coming out of her
Oh
head.
my god.
That made my like skin go on fire. I was like, "Oh my god!" I like, and I'm actually even more mad at myself because I don't know if I caught that until now. So that was like my privilege showing for sure because I caught that and I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I ever caught that before," and that upsets me.
See, but this is the thing about the rereads, right? Like when you're reading the series for like fun or whatever and not forced to think of it like critically on a chapter by chapter basis, you
Right?
can miss so much.
Yeah, for sure.
My Dementor is slightly less serious than y'all's, but like I am like personally attacked at the phrase trumped up charges, and that's it. That's the tweet.
Oh, you
I get triggered every time I hear his name, even out of
are
context.
just linguistically triggered. Okay.
Yeah,
I
feel that.
am psychologically triggered. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, on to nicer, better things. What about your chocolate, Kay Alex?
I'm sorry. She said props to Ron, and we're gonna make that her
No,
chocolate.
you're not. No, 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 you're not.
Her white ginger chocolate.
I'm I'm hanging up.
That sounds really gross. I'm sorry.
I
You
know.
need
It's
to
so
go
gross.
outside.
What is your actual chocolate, Kay Alex?
My chocolate is Ron and Harry literally skipping out on their homework, true school fashion, to play Quidditch.
It's very on brand.
Yeah,
For them.
it's so on brand. I also love to see like Harry just have these little pieces of joy, especially like he needs these moments to remind him of why Hogwarts is a nice place before it gets ruined by the whole shitty Slytherin Quidditch team. He does get to have a good time with his best friend, and I think everybody needs that right now. To have good times with their friends, even socially distanced.
Definitely. Mine was just, I mean, mine's very similar, but it just kind of more vague in the fact that my chocolate is just getting to see Harry happy for the rare moments that we get in this book. Him being essentially elated after just speaking to Cho for a few minutes, having everyone in the trio getting along at the end of the chapter, which is a rare sighting in this book. Usually at least two of the three of them are bickering about something. Usually those two are Ron and Hermione. But, Hermione agreeing to help them with their homework at the end and them all talking to Sirius and just like they're all hanging out and actually being friends is really nice to see because they've just had a lot of discord within their little trio recently. So,
It just the ceasefire happens eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mine is like a little more abstract. It's the like delightfully teenage idea that Harry has of like, who cares about flying horses that I just saw that I thought were imaginary when there's the cute girl who just talked to me. Like, just like
yeah.
such a like teenage boy moment that gives me so much joy.
I don't like him and Cho together, but it is
No,
nice.
I don't, but I like this like
Yeah,
teenage
no.
like mentality. And
Yeah,
I
no,
love it.
it's nice to see like it's kind of different watching him kind of be all excited about talking to her when we know where this ends, but it's still cute to see him be like all giddy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because like, I remember having crushes.
I told some friends of mine I stopped being a Cho basher because she doesn't deserve it. So
I don't like Cho Chang.
I'm not gonna go there.
I will do it. It's fine. I don't like her.
Okay. Anyhow.
Yeah, Harry can. This is cute for what it is. It's cute. Y'all cute or whatever.
It's the like first real crush type situation.
Yeah, yeah.
You know it's not going to end well, but it's still cute while.
Ooh, last week while I was on hiatus, we posed the following question: what would Dumbledore or McGee have done if he or she knew about the punishment Umbridge had Harry undergo? Ooh, I hope somebody said rain hot fire on her.
Well, Mythical Bassoon on Twitter did just say fire her, which, I mean, if they could, that would have been effective. And then Fairly Ridiculous podcast, it's AFR at AFR podcast on Twitter, said, I have a feeling McGonagall would have taken immediate action, gone to Umbridge directly, and made her leave. Our Lady McGonagall is a woman of action. Dumbledore, on the other hand, would take a more diplomatic route, probably write a letter to the minister. And that's signed H.
You know what though? Like I feel like Kamala and Joe are McGonagall and Dumbledore.
Ooh, I like that.
Ah.
Good comparison. I mean, I don't know if Joe is as manipulative as Dumbledore is, but
No,
maybe,
but
I
Joe
guess.
is like a master at um at quote unquote
Diplomacy?
reaching across the aisle and
Yeah.
making deals.
Diplomacy.
So
Yeah.
like he is a deal like for like a lot of what Trump says about him being a deal maker, which is like completely fake, as we know. It's like not even. But like Joe Biden is like a consummate deal maker, like trying to figure out what people want, listening to people, and then like trying to make whatever people want fit whatever he wants and like getting there eventually. So like a more diplomatic take. And like Kamala's like, bitch, like, let's go.
Can you see McGee bursting in on Umbridge and Harry in detention and Harry being like, you about to lose your job.
Yeah, no, and then like Umbridge be like, excuse me, this is my office, and McGonagall be like, I'm speaking, and it's great.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance.
All right. With that being said, this week's question is: do you think that Percy started off in the Ministry of Magic with good intentions? Can't wait to hear all these answers.
Yes, check out our social media, send us an email, tell us your answer, and we will read it on next week's podcast.
Send us an owl. I don't know how well you've got your owls trained, but we'll see. So ladies, let's cool down from like all our Percy talk and talk about the media we've been consuming.
I have been watching The Owl House on Disney Plus whenever I have a spare moment. It is a feel good, plucky, magical cartoon about I keep saying she's Latina, but she might be Hispanic, so please go watch it so you can correct me.
Okay, so do you know the difference between Latino and Hispanic? Like the terms?
I think she's looking it up.
No, I'm not looking it up, and I used to know, but
So the difference is Latino or Latina is used for people who are from Latin America.
yeah.
So like technically Brazilians are Latinos, but Hispanic encompasses all of the people who speak the Spanish language, in which case Brazilians are not Hispanics, but they are Latinos, and Spaniards are Hispanics who are not Latinos.
Yes. Okay. Because I do not know where Luce is from, I am just going to say that she is a girl of color. And
Wikipedia says she's a teenage human of Latina descent.
period. Yay. I've been telling people she's Latina. A Latina girl named Luce who decides to become a witch and practice magic and goes under the mentorship of Edna, the owl lady, and they live at the owl house.
How cute.
It's a hoot.
Cute. Love it.
All right, so I've been working on a secret project for my husband's 40th birthday, and it's a very time-consuming project. So I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. I've been listening to historical romance from Renee Ann Miller. And this is not your aunt's historical romance fiction. Like, this is not like your heaving bosoms, like Fabio on the cover historical romances. It's pretty good, pretty progressive. They're on my Libby for free, so it might be on your library too. Also, Pinky and the Brain is on Hulu, and it is a delightful, delightful rewatch from
Ooh,
my childhood.
yeah.
Man, Pinky and the Brain.
I did hear
My
about a reboot of Animaniacs.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, they
Not sure how I feel about that though, but okay.
it's supposed to be like new material and everything. They showed a trailer and all.
Oh, wow. I've been quarantining since Saturday and have had significantly more free time than I have had in the last 8 months. So I've watched
The last
lots.
decade that
Yeah.
has been
Yep.
the last 8 months.
Yep. 100%. Yep. So with that free time, I watched all 3 currently released seasons of Killing Eve. And then I also started watching Bones for the first time. I don't have much to say about Bones except for that the theme song slaps. I love the theme song.
I'm sorry. I love both these shows, so this conversation slaps. Go ahead.
Bones, I mainly started watching because David Baraniaz, aka Angel, aka Booth, is in it, and I love him in Buffy, so obviously I'm going to watch him in something else. But Killing Eve, oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Have you seen a more lesbian show? That is a great lesbian show.
It is the best.
And it is so interesting to me as a psych major because I'm also obsessed with true crime and serial killers, which,
Same.
is probably like a really, not a great thing to introduce myself with to people. But
Helene is super healthy. Like,
listen to murder podcasts, watch true
Mhm,
crime
mhm.
documentaries at night. It's cool. But it's so interesting to me because I just like want to know why Villanelle is doing what she's doing. Like
Yes.
I want to learn more about her. And also Sandra Oh, as always, is a fucking delight. I love Sandra Oh.
I also really like Sandra Oh.
I was
She's
so
amazing.
sad when she left Grey's Anatomy because I loved her character. But like, if we got Killing Eve by her leaving Grey's Anatomy, I am okay with that loss.
I am love Bones. Haven't watched Killing Eve. B, so excited for Shonda Rhimes to be on Netflix. Can't wait for her new
Girl,
show.
she's doing the Bridgerton
Yeah.
historical romances into a series, and I just like, before I even knew that that's what she was doing, I was listening to those on my Libby app, and I was like, am I in Shonda's brain? Like, are
And
we connected?
and C, sorry, not sorry. Grey's Anatomy is headed down the supernatural route and it needs to just end.
Oh yeah, I mean the last couple seasons of Grey's Anatomy are nothing compared to the first. I actually started rewatching Grey's recently, and the first few seasons are by far the best ones.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But
You
you
get
know what?
George, you get Christina, you get George. Hello, I love George. You get Izzy, which is kind of a toss up. You get like Dick Alex. I love Dick Alex. He's great.
Yeah. This is
Denny Duquette. I love Denny Duquette.
hang it up. Flat screen. Time to go.
I mean, it might get, the time of death might be called soon.
To call.
That would be a great way to end the show. Okay. Well, that's it for today's episode. Join us next week to talk about Chapter 15 of Order of the Phoenix, which is called The Hogwarts High Inquisitor.
Whew. You can find us online everywhere at Politics and at AkiaPolitics.com. You can support our podcast by becoming a patron and get physical goodies every 3 months for $5 a month at patreon.com/AkiaPolitics.
You can leave us a voicemail with all your thoughts and questions at 915-996-1699. But you can also email us a clip of your voice or, words, as usually people do email, at info@occupolitics.com.
Is that what people email? Words? That's great. All right. Woo. Oh. Until then, politics managed. Keep safe and keep faith. Good night.